お前はもう死んでいる。何?
If you told me 5 years ago that I would be saying these words, I would probably think you're crazy. But here we are, and I'm about to say them. The Japanese DLC in Age of Mythology just dropped, and I have to say they have a lot of cool stuff to play around with. So I made a tier list to check out all their units and see how strong they are. I'm gonna divide the video into 5 segments. Builders and resources, human and siege units, heroes, naval units, and myth units. So prepare your favorite anime quotes, cause we have liftoff. First, we have the Japanese builder unit, the Commoner. There's nothing too special about him, he makes buildings, costs 50 food, just like all the other workers. So I'm gonna put him in the tier, which is the same for all factions. Next up, however, is Miko. Now, the Miko has a lot of cool abilities, but her most important one is generating favor. And she does that by making gardens, preferably next to a lot of resources, so the favor generation is larger. And then she blesses the garden and you gain favor. But there are also other cool abilities that she has. First of all, she's a hero, which means she deals extra damage to myth units, so she can be used in combat as well. And she is also a healer, so all you need is a couple of them and they will heal your army in a matter of seconds. And the best part about her is her price. It's 50 food. All of the above here you get for 50 freaking food. Personally, I find this insane. And yeah, I'm gonna give it an insane S. Next up is the Deer Caravan. Now, other than it being a very cute deer, it is the same as the other factions, so I'm gonna put it in the appropriate tier. And now for the soldier class. We'll start with the Yari Spearman. And he's basically the same as the Spearman from all other factions. He's good against cavalry, but pretty basic against literally anything else, so I'm gonna put him in C tier, cause he's situational. Okay, please don't leave. I'm done with bad jokes. Next up is the Yumi Archer. Also nothing too special about him. He's good against infantry, but he can die very quickly. But still, he counters way more units than the Spearman, so I'm gonna put him in B tier. Next up, the Naginata Rider. Now, Mr. Naginata here has one job and one job only. Killing archers. If you send him in the backline, he will do a lot of damage against enemy, well, archers. But if you send him anywhere else, he will not do literally anything. So again, a very situational unit, so I'm gonna put him in C tier. But next up is the Yumi Horse Archer. Now this is a very interesting unit, because there are very few mounted archers in this game. There's the Camel Rider, and that is it. And this guy is way more flexible and way more affordable than a Camel Rider. Now, he is good against infantry, just like the Yari Archer. However, you're gonna have a really tough time catching this guy. If you have enough time to micro, you can just target a unit, and then pull back, and then target a unit again, and then pull back again. Rinse and repeat. So yeah, I see a lot of potential in this unit. It's not spectacular, but I see potential. So I'm gonna give it an A tier. Next up is the Samurai, the most iconic Japanese unit. And yeah, he might be iconic, but he's also incredibly strong. This guy counters anything it can reach with its sword. It has huge health, huge damage, and is an overall huge pain. He is way more expensive than your average infantry, however he does make up for it by being totally badass. So I'm gonna put him in S tier. Next up is the Shinobi, aka the Ninja, probably the second most iconic Japanese unit. But this guy is nowhere as impressive as a Samurai. Now, he is a lot cheaper, mind you, but despite that, I'm really not too impressed with this guy. He does a lot of damage, but he's not the same level as a Samurai, so I'm gonna put him a level below him. A tier. Next up is the Oyumi, or Ojumi, or Ojumi, however you say it. And this is a very unique siege unit, because its projectiles can pass through enemy units. So anything between it and its target will be hit, and will be hit for pretty decent damage. Make a couple of these, defend them well, and you'll be a very happy camper. So I'm gonna give him a very happy camper, A tier. Next up is the Bushi. Now the Bushi is a very strong hero archer, which means he's pretty good against Myth units. He's also pretty good against other units, but Myth units, this is where he comes to shine. You can have a couple of these in the back targeting Myth units, and the Myth units are gonna have a really, really bad time. If you can defend them well, this unit has a lot of potential. Plus, the Japanese don't really have that many ranged heroes, so without a valid alternative, I'm gonna have to give it an A tier. Next up is the Daimyo, a very, very strong horseman. Hero horseman. And when I said very strong, I meant very, very strong. A couple of these guys are enough to be your front line, and they're not afraid to show it. The enemy is gonna have a really, really tough time taking these down. And I'm really, really impressed with these guys, and that would usually translate into an S tier, but I'm gonna have to give it an A tier. And why? Because there is one unit that is a far, far better frontline than a Daimyo, and that is the Onamusha. Like, if you spawned only these units in any campaign mission, you would probably win those. These girls are so freaking strong against literally anything. They are expensive though, don't get me wrong, but for that expensiveness, you will get a lot. So yeah, she's an S tier through and through. Next up is the Onmyoi. I did my best at pronouncing this, I'm sorry. And look, this guy is hard to pronounce, but he's also hard to play with, because he has less than 200 health. But man, does he bring stuff to the table. This guy is a hero who does AoE damage and is good against Myth units and, get this, buildings. Because why not? Oh, and also he can heal people as well, because the developers apparently thought he wasn't strong enough as is. Now, as I said, he has low health, relatively low range, but it is up to you. If you're able to have a couple of these guys, who are not that expensive by the way, and keep them defended in the back line, you will be able to destroy anyone. So not based on the unit, but more like based on the potential of the unit and what it can bring, I'm gonna give it an S tier. Next up is the fishing ship, which is the same as all other fishing ships, so it goes into this category. And also the same goes for the transport ship, which is also the same as all other transport ships. But next up is the Wazan, the Japanese arrow ship. And the arrow ship really isn't anything special. It's just an arrow ship. It can transport units, which is cool, but other than that, it's just an arrow ship. So I'm gonna give it a B tier. And next up, we have the ramming Wazan, which is a Wazan with a ram on it, aka a hammer ship. And if you know me, you probably know that I'm notoriously against hammer ships, because hammer ships counter one type of ship, which in my opinion really doesn't merit making any of them, so I'm gonna put them into situational C tier. However, next up we have the Junko Zosen. And this ship is decent on lower ages, however there is an upgrade on, I think, the heroic age, where it can get this, strike literal lightning for divine damage. And it can do so on multiple targets. Bro, how strong is that? This single upgrade makes this one of the strongest ships in the entire game. Divine damage on a siege ship. Man, oh man. I don't think it's too game breaking or anything, but it is a lot of fun to play around with. Plus it's like super cool, so I'm gonna give it an A tier. And next up is our tier 3 naval myth unit, the Honengyo. And this guy, well, he is a unit. I really don't have a lot to say about this one. There are far stronger tier 3 naval myth units than this one. He has a lot of health, relatively okay damage, but nothing too special, you know what I mean. So I guess I'm gonna give it a B tier. However, next up is the Umibozu, or Umibozu, or Umibozu. Well, anyways, the giant black blob. And this guy is probably the most unique myth unit in the entire game. Not only does it look like a freaking alien creature, its special ability is, get this, to teleport to any body of water on the entire map instantly. Like, wow. I'm not saying this is gonna make combat incredibly easy or it's gonna be able to cheese anything. Well, potentially it could, but it's so freaking cool. I just love it. I love that the developers just went overboard with this one. And also, if that wasn't enough, this guy does area damage. Because why not? Oh, and yeah, he can also walk on land. Because all other things that I said about him apparently weren't enough. And they had to make him even more powerful. And I love it. It's a clear S tier unit. And now it's time for probably the most fun part of this video, the myth units. First up is a very cute little fox, Kitsune. And this unit is fairly unique. First of all, it gives nearby units a movement speed aura. And this is probably where the good things about it end. Look, I like scouts as much as the next guy, but I would prefer if I didn't have to pay favor for them. And this guy costs, get this, 8 flippin' favor. This is way too much for a scouting unit. If it were 5, I would probably be okay, but 8 is way too much. For a freaking fox who has such a low attack that it can't even kill a freaking spearman. This is how weak it is. I do like the aura part though, but I do think they have to adjust the cost for it to be a bit better. I don't know, I'm on the fence between B and C tier here, but the aura is pretty cool, so I'll give it a B tier. Next up is the Kamiatachi, a ferret with blades. And you know, that sounds pretty cool. The problem is they are tier 2 units, so they are really not that strong. But again, ferret with blades. And they can do a lot of area damage with their special attack, which is pretty cool, but I think all other tier 2 units are stronger than this one, so I'm gonna give it a B tier. Next up is the Van Yudo, a flaming wheel with a face on it. And you probably wouldn't guess this, because it makes very little sense, but this guy is actually good against buildings, for whatever reason. They made him an anti-building unit. Buildings are not the only thing he's good against, he's also good against groups of units. He has a flame breath attack, which damages multiple units. So yeah, he is very, very annoying to play against, and honestly in the campaign you have to play against him all the time. So yeah, I'm gonna give it an A tier. Next up is the Yorogumo, aka a spider lady. And she has a really cool ability where she can target a soldier, wrap them in her cocoon, poison them, and then throw them away. Which is very, very cool. She's also pretty sturdy, so there's a plus as well. But she's not as fun or as strong as a flaming wheel with a face on it. So I'm gonna give her a B tier. And next up, we have a Tengu, aka a red angel with a sword. And look, this angel has one thing and one thing going for it, which makes it incredibly powerful. It's speed. If you have a couple of these guys, you can decimate an enemy base, and they really won't have time to react to them. I think this guy is decent in the campaign, but I think his real potential is in multiplayer, where you can harass an enemy backline or base without any problems. Plus, he has a special ability where he can jump somewhere and then he gets increased stats. Because why not? Now, in the campaign, I would give him an A tier, but for his multiplayer harassment potential, I'm gonna give it an S tier. And next up, we have the Lightning Wolf called the Raiju, or Ryu. And the Lightning Wolf is kind of similar to a Nemean Lion, in a sense that he does area damage, and the area damage disables enemy units. The Nemean Lion makes people afraid, and this guy throws them into the air. And honestly, if you have a couple of these guys, you can do a lot of damage to the enemy. Like, you can perma-stun them, just like with Nemean Lions. And if you've watched my tier list for all myth units in the game, I think I put the Nemean Lion in A tier. So I'm gonna do the same with the Lightning Wolf here. A tier. And next up is the Oni. Now, Mr. Oni is basically the same as a mountain giant. You know, big red guy with a club. The only difference is that Mr. Oni here has a rage ability, which allows him to do more damage, but also take more damage for a couple of seconds. And this can be very useful when you have to destroy buildings quickly. And I like that very much. He's not gonna win the game for you, but the things he does pretty well. So I guess I'm gonna put him in A tier. Next up, we have the Shinigami. If you watched the Death Note anime, well, it's that guy. Death Note. Now, Mr. Shinigami here has a very, very cool ability. If he dies, he will respawn again, but be a lot stronger the next time around. And he has an upgrade where he can respawn a second time. So you can basically have 3 units for the price of 1. Now, the only problem I have with this unit is that it doesn't do too much damage. He does like chain lightning damage, but his damage doesn't improve with each respawn, only his health. So yeah, he's still gonna do the same damage and be only a bit bulkier, which I don't really like. I would actually prefer for him if he gained less health and more damage with each death. I think that would be more on spot, like the Spirit of Vengeance, you know, more glass cannon with every death, because he craves more revenge and cares less about his health. I think lore-wise that would make more sense. And yeah, the unit as such, pretty cool, pretty good, pretty strong, and I'm gonna give it an A tier. And next up, we have an incredibly powerful and not balanced at all unit called Ashura. This huge colossus damages anyone around them with their huge orbs. And those orbs are separate from their actual attack. So they have this orb attack and then they have their actual attacks. And this guy is so flippin' strong. Like, he's insanely difficult to kill, does huge damage to anything around him, and looks really flippin' cool. Like, literally, you need a couple of these guys and you can bust anything. You think a Colossus could do that? No, sir. Like, I can't even remember any tier 4 unit that is nearly as strong as this one. Except the one I'm gonna show you later. But any other, from any other faction, I don't know. But okay, I guess it makes sense for units to be less balanced when the faction shows up. It's better if they are overwhelming than underwhelming. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. In any case, obviously, this one is gonna get an S tier. And next up, we have the Titan, the 8-headed dragon Titan, which is by far the coolest looking Titan in the entire game. That being said, he has the same stats as every other Titan in the entire game for balance purposes. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in the appropriate tier, same as other factions. And last, but definitely not least, I kept this one for last because it is insane. Queue up Onmoraki. He might look like a stork, but my god, this unit is insane. Like, if you've ever played StarCraft 2, you have the Broodlord, who spawns broodlings with each attack. Well, this guy, get this, has an ability to create 6 undead minions every like 10 to 15 seconds. 6! And those don't last short either. They last like 10 seconds. You can literally win any mission in the game if you just spam these out. Not even a lot of them. First of all, they fly, so they are very tricky to hit. Oh, you see a bunch of arrow heroes trying to hit you? Well, no problemo. Just spawn a bunch of minions and escape while they are dealing with the minions. This unit is insane. Like, I only had to deal with it in the campaign 2 times. And those are the 2 worst times of my life. When I want a mission to be over as soon as possible, I just build storks. And that's it. I have no idea what the developers were smoking while creating this one. But I want some of that stuff too. My god. What a unit. Okay. I am more than sure that they're gonna reduce those minions to like 3 or maybe 4 at some point. But as it currently stands, this unit is insane. So I'm obviously gonna give it an S tier. My god. And I guess that's it. I didn't really prepare an outro here, so I guess I'm just gonna wing it. As a whole, the Japanese faction, very overpowered. Well, not very, pretty overpowered. Some units are very decent, some units are way too overtuned, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna address that at some point. You know, for the multiplayer purposes, but playing the campaign was very fun. The new units were much more fun than the Chinese campaign. And that's not me liking the Japanese mythology more, although I do, but that's just because the campaign was better, the units were more fun, and overall I had more fun with this one than with China. Now, I don't know what the Age of Mythology team is gonna do next, but me personally, I would love to see an Aztec or a Mayan, pantheon here. We have European and Asian gods, but I think an American god or god pantheon would be very, very cool. I genuinely want to learn more about the American mythology, you know what I mean. So yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me until the end. I hope you had fun. I hope you're gonna play the campaign. I had fun with the units. I had fun with most missions. Some were a bit overtuned, but okay. And I guess that's it. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe if you liked the video and you want to see more. And I guess I'll see you in the next challenge. Peace.